Welcome inside the studio. This is episode 7, and you are listening to ZmoSports. This page is about real sports conversations, honest analysis, and breaking things down the way the fans actually want to talk about them. No forced hot takes, no chasing trends, just informed opinions, game breakdowns, and respect for the work that goes into the sport at every level. I'm joined today by Adam Hensley and Ryan Huebner, man. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So Ryan was on the last podcast. He kind of gave you guys a whole breakdown of UFC, some NFL talk, but now we're bringing on someone new today. So Adam, take it away, my friend.
Well, again, I appreciate you guys having me on. My name's Adam Hensley. I consider myself a washed-up sports journalist. I worked in sports media for years, 4 years in college, worked for the student newspaper, the Daily Iowan, was a reporter and an editor, and then I spent years after that working obviously full-time like an adult in media, working for the USA Today network, and then did a little bit of stuff with Sports Illustrated and the Associated Press. I've got a sports background, not in it anymore, but I will always keep up with sports, particularly football, basketball. I love it.
So you mentioned Sports Illustrated. How was that?
It was cool. I wish I could say that I worked for it 20 years ago when it was actually a thing, because it got torn to shreds. And by the time I was working for it, I was working for an Iowa specific site covering U of I, basketball and football, which was still really fun. And it's cool to have on my resume that I had a time with Sports Illustrated, but it wasn't the heyday back in the day with the magazine and stuff. But it was pretty sweet.
That's pretty sick. That's pretty cool. So you were Tom told me you were at Iowa.
Yep.
So how was it like being a Hawkeye?
It was great. Great campus, fun party school. But I mentioned the Daily Iowa, the student newspaper that I worked with. It was the coolest thing ever. It's very much, they give the keys to one of the biggest and most awarded student newspapers in the country to a bunch of 17 to 21-year-olds, and it's just cool. A bunch of students running it, and it's it was a crazy time. It was I essentially learned how to do journalism in real time there, because when we're covering football or men's basketball, we're there with all the full-time adult beat writers. We're asking the questions and stuff. So it was super, super cool.
That's sick.
I loved my time there. Yeah,
that's cool.
When were you when were you there for, man? Who were you talking to? Who were you writing about?
So I covered, the sports that I did not write about when I was there was wrestling, which I'm kind of bummed about, because I was synonymous with the sport of wrestling, with the Man's Brothers and stuff. But swimming, golf, and I think field hockey were the only sports I didn't write about. So
Ryan, I think
I did a lot with mainly men's basketball, football, track and field, baseball, but for basketball, Luka Garza, who's on the Celtics, which happens to be my NBA team, he was super fun to talk to when he was there. And then for football, there was a number of guys that kind of stuck around in the league for a little bit, TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant. Those are fun guys. I remember asking Noah Fant, we would do this thing once a week for our football insert, and it was the most non-football conversation, but you should ask the guys a bunch of random stuff. And again, this was 2016, 2017. And I was what's your go-to team on NBA 2K? And he said the Warriors. I was you gotta be kidding me. Because that was AD, Steph, Clay. But gotta meet some really, really cool people. So I'm definitely appreciative of that.
Yeah, dude, neat. Iowa just produces tight ends.
Yeah. And then got another one coming in the wings, I think. Vonami, I think is how you say his last name. But yeah, I'll die on the hill that they are tight end U.
Tight end U. Tight end U, actual.
Yeah.
Okay, boys, so we have a lot to go over today. We're going to start with NBA, everything that happened with the trade deadline or the trades, and then go into some college basketball with what we saw last night with the Kansas-Texas Tech game, and then the UNC and Syracuse game, and then kind of go into some bracketology. I know you boys like to talk basketball, so that is going to be our main focus today. But first off, man, a big trade with the Clippers and the Cavaliers. We kind of saw this coming yesterday. I saw a report that was leaked about this happening. It is finally official. James Harden gets traded to the Cavaliers for Darius Garland in what I think is a great win for the Clippers. I do like Garland. I think he plays very, very well. 3-point shooter. I don't necessarily like this for the Cavs because I don't like Harden. I think he's too much of a ball hog, and I think he's going to limit what Donovan Mitchell can do offensively. But I want to hear your guys' takes because I don't like the trade for the Cavs, but I really like the trade for the Clippers.
It's I don't know, man. I'm mid ground on both sides, to be honest. It's a huge win for the Clippers if Darius Garland can stay healthy. And I know that's not his fault. It's just a thing that's plagued him throughout his whole career, man. I mean, he's had some issues with injuries whole career. So if he can stay healthy, I think it's definitely a win for them because they weren't going anywhere this year.
No.
So being able to kind of get that piece, like you said, that's younger, definitely a playmaker, can play with a lot of doesn't matter who's around him, is going to play his role no matter what.
Yeah.
So cool get for them. I just think that I wish I could argue with you, but I'm with you on the Harden side. They're going win now. You know that they're gonna if you don't win this year or next year, I mean win it all. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me to make this trade. So the Cavs are going risky, and they're saying we bring him in to be the ball hog, get some people, stop double teaming Donovan Mitchell, and see if we can rattle off some wins.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with I can see it for both sides. I would say I agree that I like it for LA because, Harden is I think in his 15th year in the league, so you're getting a little bit younger, and also Garland's under contract for I want to say with Harden's deal, it's this year, and then he's got a player option. So if you're the Clippers, you get a guy a little bit more long term that he's had some injury history, but he really hasn't had the keys to be like the main guy on a team. I'm curious to see him more with the ball in his hands because right now, like with the Cavs, Mitchell's the guy who gets the ball.
Right.
And I know that, you've got Kawhi in LA and stuff, but I'm excited to see what Garland can do with the Clippers roster. With Harden, I see it as the win now move because really you've got him for this year and then next year when he's owed like $40-something million. But I'm curious to see how he fits with Mitchell because, again, Harden's such a ball dominant guy. And Mitchell's the guy that should be getting the ball on offense, and there's other guys to work around. Like, I know Mobley's not like a super he's not like a magnet with the ball on offense, but Jared Allen just scored like 40 points the other night. So there's like mouths to feed on that Cavs team. So maybe Harden's the guy that can kind of facilitate the ball a little bit better than Garland. Like that's one aspect of it that I could see. But just wild for that to go down today.
Dude, hopping in on that, what was that Jared Allen 40 ball? With the randomest notification I've ever gotten from a sports app almost. I was like, what? Like, no disrespect to Jared. He's a great player, but I'm like, 40, Prime Shaq is here? What just happened?
Yeah. Are you using Real?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I use. So I use that for everything. But I was like, what? Jared Allen? Out of all people?
I think he played like less than 30 minutes. Like he really didn't play that much. And he, again, put up like a 40 ball. Wild.
Yeah. I was curious with James Harden whenever he went to the Clippers with Kawhi. I thought that was going to be like the ultimate duo. I thought they were going to come out swinging, but it just seems like everywhere that James Harden goes, it's just downhill. It's just his play style, man.
And it doesn't totally translate to like postseason success too. Like he's had some instances with, I think when he was with the 76ers where I think they might have gone to like a game 7 with Boston and he just melted in that elimination game. And I don't know. It's tough.
It's going to be curious to see what he does with Mitchell.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I mean, he's got a chance to kind of go at this point in his career where kind of like Adam was getting. I mean, he's been very, very good distributing the ball throughout his whole career. He always does have the ball, which is going to be, that's why he gets a lot of assists. But he also, you guys got to think back when he was with the Rockets, they were taking Golden State to 6 and 7 games. They just happened to run into a buzzsaw for those few years. So it'll be interesting to kind of see if he buys in. I think Atkinson's a really good coach out there. So if he's able to kind of get those guys to get on the same page, they do have a pretty cool like him and Donovan could be a nucleus. Obviously, Mobley's player of the year or defensive player of the year material. We talked about Jarrett. They got some shooters off the even a guy like Sam Merrill can help out off the bench, just opening opportunities up for guys.
DeAndre Hunter.
DeAndre Hunter's gone. They traded him.
Oh, that's
because
right.
I was gonna say they've got some depth now. They got Schroeder from the Kings to kind of fill in as a backup point guard who I know that guy's bounced around throughout the league, but like that's a guy that can come in right away and like really lead a second unit. So they've been busy this deadline.
Schroeder he's the worst person to bet on. He'll either drop 20 or he'll drop 0. I'm like, there's no consistency with Schroeder.
Yeah,
he's been on my
always ready.
ban list for 2 years.
Well, he also you can't trust always where he's playing like consistent minutes either. So it's a weird one to kind of feel out when you're looking at his line. You're like, I mean, 11.5, like he should get 12, but is he going to play 10 minutes or is he going to play 35? Like you just don't know.
You never know with that guy. Okay, moving on, dude. Jaren Jackson, and I know our boy Tom is all worked up about this, but from a lot of people, it said this is an A+ grade just because you're getting 3 first-round draft picks, and you got that with Bane, so the future is bright for Memphis. I think this is a great trade.
Yeah, I like it because I think you get off the Jaren Jackson Jr. contract, and if they can get off Ja this deadline too, that resets their whole timeline. And
They have to get off Ja.
For their sake, I hope so. And I think there really is. There's not no market for him. There's teams that are, I think, definitely interested. I know nothing. I'm not an NBA insider. I said I'm a washed up sports writer, but stuff that I'm like reading is there's some palpable buzz around Morant. But yeah, I think it helps reset their timeline, and the picks are huge.
Yeah.
There's no telling that like I don't know if all the picks are Utah's, but there's no telling that the Jazz are like all of a sudden a playoff team with this. Like the Jazz are not in win now mode this year.
Well, they're 15-32 on the season.
Yeah, no, spot on. They're in I would say for Utah this is a trade for next year. You know, when you get Walker Kessler back healthy, so you start a lineup. I presume you run Laurie out there as a 3, so you've got Keontae George. See what Ace Bailey does. Maybe you can put him at the 2. Then you got Laurie, Jaren, Walker Kessler, which is a solid lineup. But right now, like you said, I think 3 is steep. So Memphis did a good job because it's time to reset over there. They tried to do what they could with this roster, and it just didn't turn into any significant wins. And they, obviously ran into the Warriors that one year in the playoffs, and couldn't get by that block. But no, I don't know. That one kind of shocked me, not because of what like he was traded for necessarily, but who he went to. I thought Utah buying at this deadline was a bit interesting. So we'll see if it pans out for him next year, because it certainly won't this year.
Yeah. Does anyone know how old Jaren Jackson is? I didn't look it up before we hopped on here.
He was the 2018 draft class, so my guess is he's probably like 26 or so.
Okay, not
Maybe
terrible
something
then.
like that. Yeah.
Still got some good quality years left on him.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he signed an extension this offseason, maybe. So,
I believe
like,
he's under contract,
Yeah, so I think that might kind of go to that rationale with what the Jazz are doing, where it's like they're not exactly a free agent destination, but you can get a guy who's already locked down, and it's like, okay, you've got like 3-4 years with us guaranteed. Obviously, they could trade him at some point, but having multiple years is still attractive for an asset to be traded. So
yeah, that's a good point too. And you got Will Hardy's a good coach, so you have a good coach to go out there with him. You got to trust Danny Ainge as far as making moves. It should be interesting to see what he does. The guy's going to keep playing the way he plays, but what's good is like you're going to have a big lineup, and the one thing that Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't do great is rebound the ball.
No.
And when Walker Kessler's healthy, he will vacuum 15 rebounds.
I don't understand.
That kind of takes some pressure.
Like, how are you that tall and you can't rebound a basketball? It doesn't make... I tell this to Tom every single day. I'm like, bro, he had like 4 rebounds and he's fucking 6'3", or whatever, however tall he is.
Might even be taller.
It's whatever, but dude, I don't know. That Ryan, if we were that tall, we'd be in the league outboarding everybody.
Yeah, I may have had a shot in regionals if I was 6'9".
Yeah, dude. Just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. But
Like,
either way.
he's such a good defender, though. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know why the rebounds go, but I have a weird bias towards Jaren Jackson Jr. because when he was with Michigan State, he came to Iowa City for one game, and the guy got into foul trouble, like, right away. And I think he played less than 20 minutes, and he still scored, like, double digits, but I was like, it was one game, and I'm like, like, and he was,
Yeah.
again, getting all this buzz as, like, a lottery pickup, and I'm like, I don't know. The one time I saw him in person, which is horribly biased, the guy's a really good NBA player, but I'm like, this guy is interesting. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's talented for sure, man. He's got a lot of tools. It is weird the rebounding hasn't followed. He's a little bit of a skinnier guy when he came into the league, but he's filled out. You can tell by the way he blocks shots, like you said, being defensive player of the year at one point. So this guy is instinctually really good at basketball too. And you pair that with his athleticism. I think Utah made a good move. It just cost him a lot to get him. So we'll see.
It was what, 3 players in 3 first rounds? Was that right?
They swapped a lot of players though too.
Yeah.
Like Utah got some guys from. I even like the Vince Williams pickup's a little sneaky. He's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
So he's played like real minutes for the Grizzlies, hasn't he? Like, I think
Yeah.
like last year. I don't know about this year, but yeah.
He's your Ish Smith vibe where he gets like 4 points and has 13 assists, and you're like, all right, cool.
Dude, that was Cam Spencer. I was betting on him a couple games ago, and he was running point guard, and I'm like, I just expect him to just shoot the ball like he's been all season. And then he comes in at starting point, and this dude had 17 or 16 assists and 3 points. I'm like, bro, I need 10 points from you. Shoot the ball. You play 30 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, he used to shoot that sunbucket at Rutgers before he transferred to UConn, dude. He would launch shots, and he was good. Cam Spencer was fun to watch. Still is.
He can shoot the 3. Just like that night, he said, I'm done shooting. I don't know why. But whatever. Okay, so last night we had some really good games. I want to touch on the Kansas versus Texas Tech game. Did you guys watch that game by chance?
Caught up on it before we came on. I didn't end up watching the game itself like live, but I caught up on the highlights and kind of looked at some things, and all I can say is Darren Peterson's pretty good at basketball.
Dude, isn't he? He's a dog.
I mean, incredible.
Yeah, just from the whole game itself, both teams kind of struggled from deep, especially in the first half, it seemed like, and then down the stretch, Kansas started putting up some more, but Kansas went 6 for 20 from 3. Texas Tech shot 40 3-pointers, made 12, which is, dude, that's a lot in a college level game, dude.
Yeah.
It kind of seemed like that's where they lost the game, because whenever they were scoring, it was in the paint. Actually, both teams were scoring very, very well in the paint, and then kind of down the stretch, kind of saw Texas Tech kind of firing up some more threes, and I'm in my head, I don't know why they're shooting that many down the stretch when you're not even down by that much. It's a tie ball game heading into the last minute of the game, and I know they got some shots blocked, but why are we shooting all these threes when the paint's working?
It ironically, I'm in the same boat as Ryan, where I caught the highlights and kind of read up on it. It reminded me a little bit of, again, going back to the University of Iowa, some of Fran McCaffrey's teams where it's a lot of three-pointers, and when they're falling, it's great. You can kill teams, you can pull away,
Right.
but it's just like, why are we going away from something that's working if your three ball isn't falling? Also, like, kind of seeing some of these highlights, I thought like Texas Tech's defense though was great for the first half and most of the second half. Like, I think I read a stat that they allowed just like 2 3-pointers for like 3/4 of the game, almost to like 8 minutes left, and then themselves, Texas Tech just could not buy a bucket. late. It's just like I think there's kind of a correlation with that when you're jacking up threes and they're not falling and you kind of look to force a shot, like it just kind of breaks down the other end then.
Yeah, they went 6 minutes without a field goal in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, they started to panic a little bit because, I mean, if you look at their 3 top scorers, I think, on the game, like, I know Toppin was 5 of 18.
Yeah.
Lawan Watts, who actually played pretty well, was 8 of 22 from the floor. So, like, your top 2 players shooting like that, I mean, it's tough. I think Toppin only shot 3 3-pointers and still went 5 of 18. I mean, it's gonna be tough to win. Tough dude. I thought Badunga did a masterclass job of guarding and containing Top in that game. Not an easy task. I mean, I think he's the
Right.
only guy in the NCAA this year to average 20 and 10. Flory Badunga did a heck of a job guarding him. And I got to give a shout out to my boy Melvin Council, man.
Dude,
St.
he balled.
Bonaventure last year, transfer straight to Kansas, puts in a starting role, a lot of pressure on him. And he just shows up. He hits tough shots. He stays composed in big moments. Really, really impressed with his performance watching through that game.
Yeah, towards the stretch, the last 3 minutes, dude, he kind of clicked. And if you go back and watch some of the shots that he made, I mean, it was hand in the face type shots, some runners. But yeah, bro, he put on a show in a place that most people don't win at in Texas Tech. So what a great quad 1 win for them. You touched on Peterson. Dude, what a clutch player, man. Just 2 threes, just daggers towards the end of the game, and that's what,
And
that's
not
what you
easy
want.
shots.
No.
Not easy shots either. He was cooking, and that's what you have to have in those situations above all is that confidence, and that confidence piece with him. I saw one where he missed a 3. They got the offensive board, kicked it right back out to him, and he hesitated for a second, looked at the guy and was like, "Oh, you're not going to guard me? Perfect."
Yeah.
Into 3 right afterwards. Like, he doesn't care. He knows what he's capable of, and that's why he's going to be great in the league. I mean, the guy's going to be top 3 for sure. Might be the number 1 pick in the NBA next year.
Yeah, have we seen a guy like over a 2-game stretch do more for his stock as potentially the number 1 overall pick with Peterson, where there was all this hype about the game with BYU going up against Debanza, and
Yeah.
then I know he like sat out that second half. That's a weird thing. Like maybe there was an agent involved, whatever. But like he like went at him when he had opportunities, and like the fieldhouse crowd was just going nuts, and like that guy stepped up in the moment, and then those 2 big threes
Yeah.
against this Tech, where it's like, like Ryan, you talked about that confidence. That's like what you want to see for a guy who's gunning to be like the lead ball handler and like the main guy on one of these teams in the NBA. Like, I don't know, he's just looked so good.
Yeah, him and Watts, you touched on Watts. I think he had 19. He
Yes,
played
sir.
tremendous. In his last 2, he had 11, and I think they lost both games. So it was good to see him finally just taking shots, trying to carry the team on his back. And man, Atwell can shoot the ball as well.
Dude, he was, I mean, knocking him down.
Money.
I'm sitting there watching the highlights, and they kept saying this left-handed dude shooting. Who is this guy who's draining shots in the second half?
You'll probably see him take on much more of a lead role in that offense with Watts, because them 2 together look phenomenal.
Yeah, Lawan's good, man. Lawan played. He's a Washington State transfer, came in, and he's one of those guys that just a little bit of a weird build. He's got that kind of Lou Dort build, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, strong, not super tall, but he plays all 3 levels. He can shoot threes, but he really wants to get to the basket. Smart dude, though. Can give you 6 to 8 assists from a forward position. I think they might list him as a guard forward, but he can play
he's listed
big.
as a forward, yeah.
So I like watching him play. He's one of those guys that just kind of understands basketball. I think if he could have shot, it wasn't necessarily his fault, just shots didn't fall all night last night. If he could have shot, above 50%, they had a good chance they still had a great chance, obviously, to win that game, but they had a good chance to finish that one out.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of the missed shots were, I mean, right around the rim in the paint for a majority of those, but I mean, those were really contested with those 2 bigs down low for Kansas. But
they're good. The 2, I mean, like I said, Badunga and who's it?
Tiller.
Bryson Tiller.
Tiller.
I remember when I saw him as a recruit, I was like, Bryson Tiller, like the guy that makes music. Come on now, we're not.
Yeah.
But he can play, dude. I mean, only had 3 points, but I think 10 boards.
10 boards.
It's
Yeah.
hard to score on 2 guys like that. I thought, yeah, I was, besides Peterson hitting those clutch shots, I'm telling you, I was most impressed watching Badunga play defense, watching that game earlier today. Like when I was checking out the highlights, really impressed with the way he did it, because he plays team ball in a basketball setting, which sometimes as a big guy, obviously you're going to block shots. You want to block shots, but he was all over the place, man.
He's a
So
workhorse.
it was really cool to see him go, and he's got an engine. He just keeps turning. So
Yeah, he's
I think
a rim
he's
runner
gonna
for sure.
he's gonna have. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna have a role. If he wants to go pro after this year, I think somebody will be happy to get him.
Yeah. Adam, you touched on how you're a draft junkie. Where do you see Peterson falling?
I mean, like, I think right now, and again, anything can happen because we've seen NBA drafts where guys kind of get picked. Because if I remember correctly, a few years ago when like Paolo Banchero was the #1 overall pick, I think that was kind of a surprise pick. So maybe like Debanza or like Boozer sneaks up.
Yeah.
But I like I think if you're looking at teams that are in the lottery that could kind of use a lead guard, I think the Sacramento Kings, that could be a fun fit with him, because that's a guy who's confident and plays in control. And they've, I mean, they're the Kings. They've kind of self imploded with like trading away Halliburton to the Pacers,
Yeah.
and getting rid of Fox as well. It's like that you could use a point guard. You had 2 all-star level guys that churned through, but I think Peterson would be very interesting with them. Same with like the Atlanta Hawks. I know they've got a really good like defensive core with like Dyson Daniels, and then
Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson is
He's a
Really
stud,
good.
man. He's a stud.
he does everything, and he's so good defensively. But Peterson would be really interesting into that mix, because you've got some bigs that are kind of frisky on defense where, he can kind of, I don't want to say lead the offense, but that could be a fun team. And the Hawks would not be I don't think, I think their lottery pick is not because of their record. I think they've got another team that they traded with, so they're like owed one of these picks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you could kind of plug him on most of those teams, if not all of them, that would be in the lottery, and like he could fit.
Yeah. Peterson would be fun to watch with Jalen Johnson, man. The way Jalen just plays is just so smooth.
He's one of those players that, kind of to your point, Adam, is a plug and play type of dude in the league. He can go to any roster, Peterson, I'm talking about, and he's not going to cause too many issues unless you're worried about him taking shots. By golly, you should be worried about him making shots, because that's what he's going to do for you. And I think along with that, just to your point, throwing another team in the mix that we can talk about is Washington. Trae Young comes back healthy next year and decides, I don't need to shoot 25, 30 times a game on this specific team to help us try to win. Man, that's a lot of shots for a guy like Peterson in his rookie year to kind of keep gaining that confidence. So he can draw. I mean, he can fall a lot of places and be a fit for, I think, like you said, any of these teams in the lottery that need a playmaker, and also a guy who's definitely not invisible on defense either.
Yeah. This is a really statement win, like we touched on with Kansas, that it's a big confidence booster heading into tournament time and Big 12 tournament play. Peterson's playing well. You touched on the center for Kansas, and then, Tiller and all those guys. So, yeah, man, dude, Kansas might be scary heading into tournament time. And then another team who's playing really well is UNC. Man, they've been cooking. They won last night against Syracuse. But the problem with UNC is, dude, they're having a really, really hard time of finishing games. Last night they were up by 14 and then it turned into a 7-point game late. And then they got outscored by Georgia Tech in the second half by 1. So close games is a big, big concern for UNC and a lot of UNC fans, especially on Twitter and especially some of my friends that are big UNC fans. This is a hot topic that's been going on for the past couple games.
Yeah, I was gonna say it felt like that game against Syracuse, like kind of watching some of the highlights. It's almost like they were kind of playing with their food. Where
Yeah.
I, you know, when you talk about some of these wins that they've almost dropped, like I know they lost like 3 of their first 4 games to start in January. They've won their last 4, but, some of the teams that they're kind of fighting with and they've been kind of close have been like sub 500 in ACC
It's like
play where
trap
it's
games. Yeah.
yeah, and I know, games aren't played on paper, but some of these it's like I know it's a conference game, but I don't understand how North Carolina is kind of fighting late with some of these programs.
Yeah, it's the problem with last night is that they put in all their, the bench players started playing a little bit more, and the coach wasn't subbing in the starters out, so like got down to late, and he's still like trickling in those starters, but UNC was just taking horrible shots late in the second, just firing up random threes, and that's not really their game. They're mid-range in the paint type team, and we saw a lot of weird play, like you said, playing with their food against Syracuse.
Sometimes that's the plague that you get hit with when you're winning games by double digits in the first half. You kind of fall into that trap where you're, I want to say, too comfortable, and you start just doing things that don't really need to be done.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, get the ball to Vasar, get the ball to Caleb Wilson. If
yeah.
you're up, stay up. I get trying to get some other guys hot, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Take that into other games, that confidence level, but you got to go with what's working. And Vasar was working last night. Caleb Wilson's always going to be working. So you got to keep that going. I love watching Caleb Wilson play basketball.
He's fun to watch,
What a
man.
fun dude to watch play. Just flies around the court at 6'9", tons of defensive plays.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, skinnier, but loves to go to the boards and, puts up 20 plus dang near every night.
Every night, yeah. That's 4 straight 20-point games, 16th on the season. He had 22 last night. Dude, true freshman. I mean, like you said, he can ball, he can shoot. And, dude, we're all excited for this weekend. Him against Boozer. It's going to be a fun matchup.
Dude, what a job by Cameron Boozer this year. Incredible to come in. I love hearing him mocked here if we stop winning games,
Yeah.
But the biggest knock on him to start the season off that I was hearing in the draft process is, can he be that guy? Can he be the
Mhm.
number one guy on teams? There's a lot of teams out there that do not need him to come in and be the guy. They need him to come in and play his game, and he's playing his game to a T for the Blue
Yeah,
Devils
he
so
is.
far this year. He's been, I mean, as far as true freshmen go, this is one of the better seasons I've watched in a long time. As far as doing everything on the court, dude can
Mhm.
shoot it. Dude can go down low. He is smart with the ball. Doesn't turn the ball over a lot, which is crazy for a guy that plays the 4-5 turn. I mean, he's really impressed me this season.
Yeah, you said it best where he can do a little bit of everything. Like, I feel like the guy's the jack of all trades. And out of these, like him, DeBance, Peterson, I think he's got like the highest floor out of these prospects. Where
Mhm.
if you talked about fit on the Pacers, he would be fantastic with like Hallie and Siakam and some of these guys where like you can just kind of let him do his thing where you know, I think with him, his game is so refined and it's like his footwork in the paint is fantastic. And he can create off the dribble where like he's just kind of a mismatch where you talk about that 4 and 5 or get a smaller guy on you. He's got the strength to bully you in the paint, but if you got a bigger guy on you, he can get past you. You got to respect him, but if you give him space, he can knock down threes. So he is like I think he is like the closest thing to a lock out of these guys when you're talking about, like I said,
Yes.
like a higher floor where you could kind of like Peterson, where you can kind of put him on any of these lottery teams and just like
Yeah.
work. Like you're gonna raise our floor collectively because he's just so good.
He's averaging 23.5 points per game, which ranks 5th in the country, and 9.8 rebounds, which ranks 20th, and he's averaging 4 assists as well. So, dude, I
As a
mean,
true
talk about a
freshman,
freak of an athlete. Yeah. So USC is going to have a really hard time guarding him. Um, it's obviously the biggest X factor if UNC wants to win, as you touched on it, is Henry Vasseur, who has been balling lately. His 12th double-double this season, 2 straight double-doubles. But when he gets going, man, he's just a key piece to that offense. And he's going to have a tough time against Patrick. Don't even know how to say his last name. The second. Mbonga. Yeah, that guy. Which, dude, he's a dog too, man. So he's a sophomore, averaging 11, 6, and 2. So it'll be interesting to see what Henry Vasseur can do against Mbonga.
Mbonga, yeah. No, that'll be fun, man. Like you said, it's a fun matchup because Henry's been there. But Mbonga has 2 now. He's a guy who's been. This is his second season.
Yeah,
touched
sophomore.
on. Got to sit back and learn a little bit last year behind Malawak. And he's a guy who doesn't have like Duke, as good as they are as a team, doesn't make him go out of his comfort zone.
Right.
So they just kind of allow him to play his game of basketball, which is straight athleticism, straight attack mode defensively. And Henry might be able to slow him down a little bit, but I'll be interested to see them on the boards against each other, trying to battle that out. That'll be a fun battle to watch. Does Wilson? We think Wilson probably guards Boozer. That's a straight matchup.
I mean, probably. I mean, I don't see him guarding Isaiah Evans, so it'll probably be Wilson on Boozer. Man, that's gonna be fun to watch, man. We're excited about that one.
It's like the ultimate battle of like again, Boozer's craft is just so good, but Wilson is so twitchy quick, super bouncy, where it's like I think he's got Boozer beat athletically, but it's just I'm so excited to see how those two
Yeah.
because I feel like we're gonna get a lot of possessions like that.
Yeah. It's in UNC, I think, right?
Yep.
In UNC. 6:30 tip off. But if UNC can get ahead early, obviously the biggest question is, can they maintain that? Because if they're gonna have to play from behind in the second half, I don't think UNC is gonna be able to take this one. I think Duke's just way too good offensively through Boozer and Davis.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for them to. I mean, let's just put it this way.
Evans, sorry.
You're not playing Syracuse and Georgia Tech. No disrespect to those teams this year.
Yeah.
But that's not who these guys are. John Shire is not running these guys out of the court to lose at Chapel Hill. They're going to come out to play, and that's one of the best coached teams in college basketball. So if you play around with your food, so to speak, with this Duke team, it's going to come back to bite you real quick, and you might find yourself down 10 in the second half.
Yeah. I think they're one of, obviously, the leading favorites to win the whole thing behind Arizona. But yeah, man, they've lost 1 game this year. So talk about a team that's dialed in, that can play very well against tough teams and tough environments. And if they walk out of UNC with the win, man, it's a good quad 1 win again for them. Let's talk bracketology. Man, it's getting close, boys, to tournament time. I know, man. It's like the best time of the year besides NFL playoffs that I think, but you guys might be different on that. But projected for the number 1 seeds, Arizona, Michigan, Duke, and UConn. Man, UConn's back in it. Just seems like every single year for them. Doesn't matter what seed they get. And then we got our last 4 buys as of right now. Now, this bracketology was from this morning at 8 a.m. I don't know if you guys got a chance to take a look at that yet. But Indiana, UCLA, New Mexico, and Miami are the 4 that are in the last 4 buys. And Indiana has a game tonight against USC.
Yep, USC.
Okay.
So
on the road, right?
Good. Yeah, at USC. They're on their West Coast road trip, so it'll be a pretty. I mean, it's not a must-win game for Indiana. They have a chance to make it up if they don't, but it's a heck of a must-win game for USC. I think they're kind of in fight or flight mode right now as far as making the tourney. Indiana did themselves some favors, obviously with the Purdue game, getting that one under their belt, and
it's
then
a great quad 1 win, man.
Pulling
That's huge.
1 double OT out of UCLA the other night. So they're doing their best to get back into it. And it takes a team that team didn't bring a single player back from last year with the whole Darren DeVries. I know your West Virginia fans aren't too mad about how all that turned out, but don't worry, Tucker ain't shooting the ball any good this year anyway, so we'll have to wait on it. But
God, man, I miss him so much.
yeah, it doesn't look like their substitutes doing too well this year. So, but it'll be interesting,
ask,
man.
Ryan, so Zach, so you're a West Virginia fan?
Yeah, we're so dog shit.
Okay, so all of our programs were like semi-connected about a year ago with DeVries, because I remember when Iowa got rid of and ended things with Fran McCaffrey, DeVries was a name that people were throwing out there, and I don't think it was as serious, or it went down the line, because there was no way Iowa could ever compete with like the war chest that Indiana has with NIL and all this stuff. And it's also just a blue blood program. Again, tokenomics with the sport. But yeah, like Ryan, I was going to ask, like, we're almost through a season. How would you rate DeVries at Indiana so far?
I think he's a good coach. He was dealt, this offseason was a bit difficult for anybody, honestly, to get put in that position to where you kind of had half the offseason to put a roster together. So he's pulling guys from here, pulling guys from there. And sometimes it takes a bit for guys to gel together. It's not just you can throw them out there for 3 weeks and all of a sudden, click, here we are. So I think he's done a pretty good job overall. Decision-wise, there's only so many things that you can kind of point out as you're watching from a fan's perspective. I've been to a couple games this year, and he definitely, what I like about him is he shows emotion. He's always locked into the game, and he's a coach who really does focus on the fundamentals in certain ways. They shoot a lot of threes, which rubs people the wrong way, but it's also just kind of how their roster's built this year. They don't have a guy they can go to inside really to get a bucket. They got guys that can drive to the basket, but they don't have a ton of guys that can just post up and get their own shot. So it's kind of how he's had to run the offense a little bit this year. Frustrating at times, but when you got a guy like Lamar Wilkerson out there, and now Nick Dorn all of a sudden has come out of the fray, the Elon transfer, hitting threes left and right. It's been fun to kind of watch them develop. So at the beginning of the year, you would have asked me that, it would have been a lot more of a shaky answer. But I'll shed some light on this. I'll come completely clean. I wanted Ben McCollum, and that still would have been my pick.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled that Iowa got Ben McCollum. And I again, this is all in total hindsight, but I think that was the guy that Iowa might have been more focused on. And I think he was more of a realistic get just because of his ties to the Eastern Iowa area. And he's kind of labeled like McCollum's sort of this basketball junkie. And there's all these reports that these other coaches in the country will kind of go to him for like advice or whatnot. I don't know how much stock you want to put in that, but I think DeVries was just such a big name. And also, I think he's a pretty good recruiter, too.
Yeah.
And there was the package deal with his son, Tucker, wherever he was going to go, where I don't think it was super realistic that he would end up a Hawkeye, but I can't complain so far with.
Dude, Tucker, before he got injured at West Virginia, bro, he was putting up 20 points a game.
Yeah.
He was balling, and then he goes to IU, and it's just like, dude, what happened?
Yeah, he lost his shot, I guess. His confidence was shot for a little while there.
Yeah.
He got it back towards the end of the Michigan game just for a little while. They were getting killed, and he was just kind of saw some shots go in. And you guys play, I mean, you know how it goes. You play ball. You watch a couple shots go in, that helps you out. So I think he's trying to gain his confidence back, but he'll take some shots during the game where he might make 2 in a row, and the next time down the court, he comes off a screen and shoots it from the logo, and you're like, why? Why do you have to do
Heat
that?
checking, yeah.
Yeah, heat checking after like a made 2 and 1 3. I'm like, dude, this is not the time to do that.
That's what he did at West Virginia too, but for some reason they were falling until he got injured.
It's what he did in high school too. So he's from Iowa, or like went to high school at Waukee where I went, and then when I did like a little bit of high school sports coverage and went to a number of Waukee games and kind of did like some, like not really scouting, but just like evaluation of some of these guys. And like you could tell he stood out because, like you're talking about, Ryan, this guy would shoot from the logo in high school in rhythm, and he'd make shots, and it would be at these away venues where you've got, like, the student section on you and everything, and he stood out where it's like, okay, this guy's a bucket. And obviously those Waukee teams he was a part of had like Peyton Sanford, who played at Iowa, and then Price Sanford, who's at Nebraska now. So like they had no shortage of guys for opposing defenses to kind of key in on. But like, man, DeVries, when he was out there, it's like, this guy's different. And you could tell that like he had the green light to do whatever he wanted. And it's so funny that it's literally been the exact same way from high school to West Virginia, and now, I guess Drake before, then West Virginia, and then
Indiana, it hadn't changed from that level from Missouri Valley, Big 12, Big 10, and he keeps chucking the same. I wish a few more of them would go in this year. I'll tell you what, the funny thing about watching him, and this is just, I notice it, and I don't think there's anything he can do about it at this point, but he is slow as shit if you watch him play basketball, dude. He's so slow. Like, I remember vividly a play from Minnesota where he gets a steal or some type of pass where we're fast break, and he, like, goes up to dunk it all. Literally, it looks like some guy going up in not even warm-ups before the game, like warm-ups when you're just out there shooting around before you guys are even dressed yet. Like, he's going up like he's in sweatpants, and the dude from Minnesota comes behind and throws it off the backboard, and I'm like, what are we doing, man? Like, show some type of. He's so slow, really skilled at basketball. It's just sometimes you watch him and it's super frustrating because if he's scoring 20 a game, let him do what he wants. But when he's scoring, 14 and shooting less than 40% from the floor, it's like, what are we doing, man?
Dude, Reed Bailey went absolutely nuts against UCLA.
Yeah, so
it's kind of a bit of a surprise.
Well, that one went under the radar. Well, I don't know to say it went under the radar. He was a fairly high-ranked transfer, but I was following. So Davidson last year had him, and they had Bobby Durkin, who's on Minnesota now. And Durkin's a straight shooter. But Bailey put up about 18, 19, and 6 a game last year. So he's not necessarily new to scoring. Obviously, the Big Ten's a much different level than the A-10,
right?
Physicality-wise. But if he starts to get aggressive, and you can hear Darren talk about that in multiple interviews when they asked about Reed Bailey. He said, we just want the kid to be aggressive. We want him to keep going. And you can tell that's not an easy team to play on the road, UCLA. They were, 14-6 when we walked in there, or 13-6, I can't remember. But very, very good game from him, and that's what they need because they, Sam Alexis, the Florida transfer, much more of your defensive, can make plays here and there, but he's going to catch the alley-oops. He's not doing any type of real scoring with the ball in his hand. So to have Bailey kind of emerge as that option is going to be super big time for them moving forward for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and he's a senior.
Yes.
So unless he has a fifth-year option, he won't be there next year, correct?
Correct. I think he's done after this year. Okay. I believe this was his last. I think this is his last year of eligibility. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you touched on UCLA. They got 2 quad 1 wins. New Mexico has 1, and Miami has 1. So those are for the last 4 buys, but the last 4 in. This is a big game for USC because Joe Lunardi has them as one of the last 4 in. If they can get a statement win tonight, that's going to keep them there. But if they lose tonight at home, I'm afraid they're going to be one of the last 4 out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Ohio State, they have 1 quad win at Northwestern, so they're going to have to be well down the stretch. San Diego State has 1 quad 1 win. And then this was a bit of a surprise for me, is that Joe has Texas as the last 4 in, but they have 3 quad 1 wins, and 2 of them are on the road. So I kind of thought that he would put them a little higher as maybe a last 4 bye.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I thought that one was a bit strange. I guess technically all 3 are on the road because NC State was neutral. They won at Texas A&M, and they won in Arkansas, which, dude, Arkansas has been playing very well ball. Like, they've been playing great. They could shoot the three ball very, very well. I know they lost to Kentucky in their previous matchup at home, but yeah, it's kind of a bit of surprise there to see Texas in one of the last 4 ends.
Yeah, because, I mean, like you said, they've 3 quad 1 wins, and you look at the teams that they're sort of grouped with, and maybe a couple have, like, 2.
Yeah.
Most of them have 1. Like, all these teams, like, even I know going off, like, Lenardi's bracketology, but, like, even some of the sites where they kind of merge a whole bunch from, there's teams that even have, like, no quad 1 wins that are kind of flirting in that same neighborhood where it's like, I don't understand that, where
Yeah.
Texas is at.
Do any of them have Virginia Tech as one of the last 4 in? Because I did see one of the website, I don't remember what it was. I think it might have been CBS, is that they got Virginia Tech as one of the last 4 in. And I don't think they have a quad 1 win.
I think they're
I'm
listed
not
past
sure.
the cutoff maybe. But, I mean, that's a program that could find itself potentially, like, depending on how the, like, February goes for them,
Right.
be squarely in the mix there. But, yeah, I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, they got Cal as one of the last 4 out, Seton Hall, and then Santa Clara, and then the next 4 out, Missouri, TCU, George Mason, and VCU. I also did see something about Iowa making it in the last 4 in as well. So I don't know if you want to touch in on that, kind of like the breakdown, because I don't know how many quad wins they have.
I think they're 1-4 in quad 1 games, if
Okay.
if what I'm looking at here is correct. But, yeah, they should be favored, I think, in most of their games. I'm so, like, there's a lot of games left. We've got, like, a month of basketball left. But
Right.
I think if they, again, games aren't played on paper, but they should, I think they've done enough to at least
Mhm.
put themselves out of the bubble right now, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I've seen many Iowa teams be
Yeah.
ranked and do well and then fade in February, so we'll see. But I am optimistic about Iowa's chances this year in year 1 with McCollum, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I think they'll be okay. And the good thing is you always, when you're in a conference that's as good as the Big Ten, just like the ACC, just like the SEC, just like the Big 12, you've always got a chance to do something in the conference tournament if you end up screwing up one game down the stretch. Hey, now we got to rattle off 2, but hey, we can still do it. So it should be, I think they'll be all right. Iowa, I really like Ben McCollum, man. I think he's a good coach. So I think he'll have him ready for the big games. They really could have beat Purdue at Purdue. It was a super close game there. So should
Mhm.
be cool. Going back to Texas just for a second, I was just looking at it just to kind of see, you know what I'm saying, go to their schedule real quick. They have the only reason you could see them out is they have a couple questionable losses.
Yeah.
Like, they got beat at home to Mississippi State. Neutral
Oof.
site, they lost to Arizona State, who's not that stellar this
Not
year.
good. No.
So that's probably why they're in that situation that they're in. But the good news is for them is, again, you've got plenty of basketball to play in a great conference. So get yourself some wins and you're
Yeah.
right back at it, man.
Dude, you know who actually might be kind of scary is, I don't know if you guys know this, but Miami of Ohio, come tournament time, they're undefeated. They rank first in points per game, first in field goal percentage, and 10th in 3-point shooting. So talk about a team that could do some nasty work heading into tournament time. A Cinderella story
Yeah.
team right there.
Depends on what seed they get, man.
Yeah.
If
Well,
they mess around and get seeded too high, that's a team. I'm just saying they have not, and I love a Cinderella story. Oral Roberts a couple
yes.
years ago, all that stuff.
Yep.
I'm all for it. But that's a team that if the 3 ball is not falling for Miami of Ohio, they've
They're
won like
done.
3 or 4 games in overtime in the
Yeah.
MAC. So it's going to be really scary if they wind up like a 7 seed or a 6 seed and they're playing somebody who's, not so happy about the way their season ended, lost a couple games, then snuck in as a 10 seed. That could be bad news for the old Red Hawks. So
Yeah,
we'll have to see.
they took Buffalo 73-71 today. So great game for man, I don't even know how to say this dude's name. His name's Luke. I'll just give him a first name, but he had 19 points. Some of these European names, man, I don't even try anymore.
And there's a lot more of them in college basketball now too, just because of the
Yeah.
kind of the climate of how it's going. All
But
right, boys.
yes.
Well, I'm gonna peace out. I gotta head out. So I appreciate you having me, Zach.
Yeah, of
Adam,
course.
lovely to meet you, man. But I'm
Same
gonna
to you,
swing
Ryan.
out. I'm always down to talk ball. So we'll tune back in. Probably be back soon.
All righty, brother. Good luck tonight against USC.
Yes, sir. We'll see you guys.
See ya.
Yes, see ya. Dude, Ryan's fun to have on here, man. He knows a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
about ball.
Great guy.
Yes, yes. Okay, so talking about college ball and everything, early prediction on your Final Four.
I don't want to be that guy. Could be a year where it's very chalky.
Yeah.
So, like, looking at the top, like, right now, like, net ranking, like, Duke, Arizona.
Yeah.
Michigan's kind of interesting. I think Iowa State is in a position to totally lock down one of those.
I don't believe in Michigan either. I don't really think their play style matches up with what these bigger teams are doing.
Yeah,
That's just my opinion.
I go back and forth, and this is again why I'm saying I'm iffy on Michigan. I think Dusty May's a really good coach,
Yeah.
and the thing that I think would push me towards them making the Final Four is just, I mean, he did this with was it FAU a few years ago where they were kind of a Cinderella story. I think they were a Final Four or Elite Eight.
They were, yes, because I was at Western Kentucky at the time, and obviously they were in the same conference. So yes, they did make it to the Final Four as an 8 seed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they might have lost to San Diego State, maybe, which won the title, or maybe it was
North
there was
Carolina State.
maybe. But like my point is, like, if I think in college basketball, coaching matters a lot more than
Yes.
some of these other sports, like, or even like other leagues, like
Well, even
NBA.
NBA, yeah, right. It's just a
Yeah.
whole different level of athleticism.
Yeah, I think X's and O's and just schemes, like, because you can go up against these teams where I know it was this way with like Syracuse back in the day, where they run their zone and teams like you can see it on tape, but then you get out there and these teams look like they've never faced a zone before. And so
Yeah.
a team like that, or like Michigan, who kind of does things different with like Dusty May, who's just a good coach, like that's the type of team where I think could have some success. But like you were saying with the players, like I'm not like totally sold on Michigan yet compared
Yeah.
to like Duke or Arizona or even Iowa State.
Yeah, even UConn for that
Yeah.
matter. I mean, UConn, it just seems like every time they get into tournament play, man, they just win. And it's just what they do. And I don't like their coach.
You're a Hurley fan.
I can't stand the guy. But dude, he wins, and that's the thing that he just does well at. And you can either like him or you don't, but I mean, dude just wins. And another team that, could make a giant run is Illinois. People can't sleep on Illinois. They're ranked 5th in the country. They've got Keaton Wagler averaging 18 points per game. David, another guy, I don't want to say his last name, 12 points. And then Kylan Boswell, he's 14. So they've got some studs over there in Illinois, and I've watched them play a couple times, and they just flow, man.
Yeah, they're again, and I think to have the success they're doing in the conference like the Big Ten, like that, I that would be definitely a team that they're fun to watch. I'd keep an eye on. Another team that I would throw up there too. They're not a number 1 seed, so this I guess wouldn't be super chalky in terms of taking number 1. But in Lenardi's latest bracketology, Houston's a 2 seed.
Yes.
They won it last year, or
The
now
Big 12?
yeah, like yeah, because I know Sampson's just a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of similar to the whole Dusty May argument, where I think depending on how like seeding shakes up, like Houston could be one of those non-number 1 seeds that could just
Yeah.
shake
If
things out.
if they get into the right region with the right pull, yeah. I mean, dude, they have for the past couple years, they've just have the best defense that you could ask for in any type of college basketball level. The way they play, they're aggressive, they float to the ball. It's wouldn't really say this, but it's like watching a football team play defense on a basketball court.
Yeah. Also, I totally biffed here. I was thinking, they lost in the title game last year.
Yeah, they didn't win it at all. No.
Yeah, they had that goofy last possession to end the game where I don't think they really got a shot off, or they really didn't have like any
Yes,
sort
the
of a
ball
good
like
look.
dribbled
Yeah,
out, and yes, I
it was weird.
remember that.
So,
Yes,
maybe that
near the
just contradicts
sideline.
everything I said about Samson and coaching and everything like that. That's your
Well, I
your
mean, to
last
be
shot,
fair
but
though, like Houston has always been like for the past couple years has been like this is the team that's going to do it. This is the team that's going to win it all. And it come tournament time, they just don't. But I mean, dude, it's one winner out of 68 teams. But it's the same thing for Gonzaga, man. And here's the problem with Gonzaga. Or Gonzaga, however you want to say it, they don't play anybody, man. Like,
yeah,
they need to go to a different conference and get actual competition if they want to have anything to do with hosting that trophy. So they've got to figure out a way to move to a Big 10, a Big 12, an SEC conference where they can just get the experience they need come playoff time. Because when we see them in the playoffs, it folds.
yeah. And like, I don't know. I know there's like they're a basketball school.
Yes.
Their other sports are not at that D1 level, like football and everything. Like you were saying, I would love to see them join like the Big 12 or another conference, because I think that would be like a match made in heaven with their like I think the Big 12 is probably the best basketball conference in the
Uh,
country, with
yes, I would
top
agree
to
with you.
bottom in terms of, you know, program.
Overall efficiency. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but at the same time too, like you got to think of, if you join a conference for one sport, I'd be curious to know how much of like the revenue and NIL you can get from that, because I gotta think that if they joined a conference, they could get a little bit more money out of like a TV deal or something than what they've got now. But you never
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
Well, are they? They're not independent. Are they independent?
No, I think they're in like
They're
the
in the
rack or something,
yes.
or
They should just pull a Notre Dame, go independent, and then make your schedule.
well, I think Notre Dame is ACC, but that was kind of my example where Notre Dame is ACC for basketball, but they're independent for like,
For football.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's where the whole thing where you can get your own schedule. And now in the college football playoff, you're automatically, if you're Notre Dame, if you're ranked like 12th or better, you're automatically in with the new
Yeah.
football rules. But yeah, they're in the West Coast Conference, not
Yeah.
the WCC. But
Okay.
yeah, to your point, it's like St. Mary's is in that conference, and they're kind of a tournament team every year. Like Matthew Dellavedova, I think, was a St. Mary's guy.
Dude,
So
he
like,
was so fun to watch.
that's a guy where you hate him if you're playing against him, love him
Yeah.
if he's on your team.
There is no switch off that guy. Remember when in the tournament time when it came into the NBA playoffs and he made a name for himself just because he was harassing
Yeah.
defender offensive players?
Yeah, he was like getting in Curry's space and doing stuff. And
Yeah.
there was I want to say a year or two after that, the Celtics Bucks faced each other in Milwaukee, and I was still in school, but a couple of my buddies and I were like, "Oh, Milwaukee's not that far away from Iowa City." So we packed like 6 of us into a 5-seat like Jeep. We drove up to
Nice.
Milwaukee for the game. The Celtics lost on like couldn't hit a last second shot. I think it was like Marcus Morris or whatever the Morris twin that was on the Celtics took a shot. It was ugly.
Yeah.
But there's this play where coming out of an inbounds pass with like a second to go in the quarter. I don't know which Celtic threw the ball in, but like didn't even see Dellavedova come sprinting in
Yeah.
and like dives, grabs the ball, steals it, and like throws up this junk layup, buzzer beater. The crowd's going nuts in Milwaukee. And I was like, this is like the ultimate spark plug guy here, where like this is just like
Yeah.
demoralizing to go against.
Yes. Dude, he was one of my favorite players to watch when he was playing. It was funny because I think he's got red hair, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, I was playing basketball at the time in high school, so I got a lot of comparisons about me being the energy guy. But yeah, the Dellavedova was awesome. Speaking of the Celtics, man, I'm a Celtics fan too, so we're up right now 100 to 84. against the Mavs. And dude, Cooper Flag is balling. He's got 33 against us tonight. But Jaylen Brown has 25, 10 rebounds, and Pritchard has 24. Man, dude, talk about one of my favorite players in the NBA right now. I know we've kind of gone off the college basketball. We'll get back onto it in a second. Peyton Pritchard is by far my favorite player in the NBA, dude. The way he plays the game, and he hits tough middies. He can shoot the three ball. He's just bang, bang, bang. And dude, I love Peyton Pritchard. I tried to get a jersey last year. They didn't sell him for some reason, but they got him this year. Yeah. But man, I gotta give me one because Peyton Pritchard's just he's the man, dude.
Yeah, and like kind of the opposite of Delly in the fact like he just a killer offensively. Like those half court heaves against the Mavs in the finals last year were like poetry. But yeah, I think like okay, so let me ask you this as a Celtics fan. Two things. What do you think of the deal they made today where I know they shipped off Simons to Chicago for Vucevic. Are you like I'm kind of on board with it just because I know Simons, both guys are expiring deals this year. So like you're
I actually didn't even get to see that trade because I was coaching today, so you have to run me through it real quick.
Yeah, so they essentially the Bulls sent a second round pick and Nikola Vucevic for Simons, and then the Celtics sent some second round pick that's like the best of three different. It's something stupid, but basically they swapped second round picks, and then it was like Simons for Vucevic.
Okay.
So
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I like that. Honestly, I love the way Simons was playing, man. He was giving us quality minutes off the bench, and there's a reason that Missoula traded and got him onto the team. So yeah, that's a kind of a big question mark, honestly. And dude, Kata's been playing well down low. Like he's gotten quality minutes. Luka Garza has been balling out. I mean, I just watched him hit a 3-ball. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a big question mark, honestly. Like, do they expect Tatum to be back pretty soon?
That's the thing is I can understand if you're of the assumption that Tatum comes back post All-Star break this year, and this is like your push to try and win a title and like ramp him up. I get the trade because I don't think Vucevic is a guy that he's not a guard, first of all, where he's a decent rebounder, and whether or not I would assume he starts for Boston. But with the way Kate has been playing, like you were saying, they've got some of these guys that have been wildly overperforming for their contracts, like Kata, Garza, Pritchard, another guy too. My thing though is where I can kind of see it is I think it gets a little crowded in terms of who's going to be, moving or who the ball is going to be in the hands of. With you've got the Jays, and then you can't really take it out of Pritchard's hands at time, even Derek White sometimes. So I can understand from that standpoint where it's you've got a lot of mouths to feed that have to hold the ball. But yeah, it just stinks because Simons was having a rebirth year with the Celtics.
There'd be times where he dropped 35, and I mean he was just shooting lights out. I mean, dude, but I guess their thinking is Missoula's thinking at the beginning of the season, let's bring Simons on, give us these quality minutes, get us some really good wins, get us into hopefully that top seed, get value for him, bring in someone else when Tatum comes back in. So maybe that was the thought process, but I love the way the team was clicking, man. I thought we were playing well, and maybe Vucevic will just, take Shireman's minutes.
Yeah, I'm so curious to see what the rotation looks like if Tatum comes back, because I think they could win a series if Tatum's not back this year, but I think when it comes to crunch time with some of these teams, if Tatum doesn't come back, I'd be curious to see how far they can go in the playoffs. And maybe Vucevic is kind of part of this push where they think the roster is good enough, because the East, again, kind of contradicting what I said, but the East is not as good as years past. It's not like the West this year where it's super top,
right,
where I think it's more open, but I just think it's like Jaylen Brown's good, but I don't know if he can like carry the whole load by himself. I know you've got a good supporting cast with like Pritchard and Derek White and some of
Yeah.
these other guys we talked about, but I think
Sam Hauser,
yeah, it
he's
also
been
3-point
balling.
contest participant. I'm pretty
Yes.
sure I saw today. So they've I'm curious to see how it goes. It was very interesting because I didn't like have that on my bingo card for Simons getting dealt for Vucevic.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
N-
how does this play? I don't know.
yeah. It's kind of weird. I mean, you touched on, the Eastern Conference with the Pistons and the Knicks. I mean, we're right up there with those two. Pistons are leading the way. They're 5.5 games ahead of the Knicks, and we're a half game back from second place with the Knicks. But yeah, dude, I don't know really how I feel about it still. I'm gonna have to let that one sit because you know who's actually been really making me very upset for the past probably the past month is Derek White. Dude, he has been horrible. And that's a guy, if he's playing bad, you bring in Simons to kind of take over a little bit. So, dude, I don't know. That trade just seems weird, just from the simple aspect that Derek White has not had the season that I thought he was going to have so far. And to have a guy like Simons come in and kind of handle the ball, take those shots, because he'll let it rip. Once he gets
Yeah.
hot, he's on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to let that one sit for a minute because I don't think I agree with
Yeah.
Missoula on that one.
And also it's like it's tough too because I think when you get in the playoffs, I know your rotations shrink drastically where some of these teams that would play like 10 guys, it will dwindle to like 7 or 8 in a playoff series.
Right.
It's so valuable to have that depth like a guard like Simons, but I think the one knock on him, he's been better this year defensively, but when he was with Portland, he was not a good defender. And I know
Yeah.
like to the point about Derek White, how he hasn't been able, like he's kind of struggled shooting the ball. But I think what he does on defense, like I could see the argument for why, like he'll get through it offensively, but his defense is worth it just keeping him out there.
Right. I mean, he's one of the best blocks, like shooting guards that can block the ball. Like that's
Yeah.
just, dude, he's great at that.
Yeah, but to your point though, with shooting though, it's like you kind of have like everybody has to be able to contribute offensively, and it's nice
Yeah.
where it's like you said, if his shot's not falling, you've got a guy that can come off the bench
Yeah.
and just be a bucket getter. But
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah. I
know.
want to see Jordan Walsh kind of play more into that role as well because, dude, whenever he gets going, man, he can light it up from time to time. I know it's very rare, but I like his play style. That's another guy that's going to give you quality minutes, get rebounds, get assists. He loves to drive the ball and kick it. So you talked about, come playoff time with the rotations. It's one thing Missoula does really well is he'll play a lot of guys with
Yeah.
some good minutes.
Yep. And like Walsh is a great example. Like that's a guy that I think if like he plays Missoula ball, where like pretty good defender and like the guy just tries on defense and like will go 100 miles an hour even if he's wrong. Like, and the offensive game I think has kind of come along a little bit here. Even
Yeah.
like Hugo Gonzalez, their rookie they got this year. That's another guy who's like
Oh, he's been fun to watch.
he's had some flashes.
Yeah.
Sneaky good defender, and also like his offensive game at times. Like I know the whole conversation around him was he's like this raw overseas prospect, but I think he's like shown more than I would have thought from him this year.
Yeah.
Just given like the depth on the team. So they've got some guys where again, if Tatum comes back and even if he doesn't come back, I'm so curious to see what this team looks like.
Yeah, I know.
It's with the rotation.
Yeah, and with the way that they're playing now, it's just, dude, they're playing very, very well. Jaylen Brown's averaging dang near 30 a game. So here's kind of a hot take. If you're Missoula and you know the value that you have a Tatum, is that a piece that you trade? Is that a piece you bring in a really offensive center? And maybe take Kata out because he averages 8 points a game. Do you bring in a big name center?
Like,
I mean, it's worth the conversation of having just based off the pieces that Boston has now with Brown, White, Pritchard, they got shooters.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't totally disagree.
Yeah.
Who would you think of putting at the 5? Like, potentially a guy that's up in Wisconsin who can be a little unhappy with his current
We're
situation?
on the same wavelength.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. That I think, like, and it's I just I think it would have to be, like, Giannis, or, like, obviously, this would not happen because their teams would say no, but, like, the Nuggets and Jokic or the Spurs with Wemby, if you're talking about bringing in a big man, that would
Yeah.
command, like, somewhat, like, I
Or here's another one that I wouldn't be, upset with is you take Tatum, fly him out to Miami, bring in Bam and Powell, and then you take, another guard from us and ship him to the Heat and do a two-way trade that way. It's
Bam would
not
be
a bad
cool.
take, man.
Yeah, and I think if that trade goes down, their defense is better. Like, I think Tatum is a very underrated defender, but, like, Adebayo is one of the better defenders in the league.
Yes.
Like, I think he's on that same conversation as Jaren Jackson Jr., where, like, he's a set it and forget it defensive player of the year candidate, better rebounder.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think, like, for the Celtics, they just have never really had, like, a true 5 that can rebound. Like, this sounds crazy, but since, like, the Garnett days when they had, like, Kendrick Perkins out there where they're like, "All we need you
Yeah.
just to, like, defend and grab boards." I don't think they've really had a guy like that because they've done a lot of sort of small ball stuff with the Jays and, uh,
Yeah.
like, what's kinda funny is Kata now this year has been a really, really solid center where he
He
can
has
boards,
been.
block shots, be a rim runner, but yeah, like, that would be something that I would it would pique my interest if they moved off of, like, Tatum for Giannis or another
Y
player of that
yeah.
caliber.
I mean, think about, like, if they, sent Tatum to, Milwaukee and they brought or sent Derek White as well, and you brought in, like, Rollins and Giannis and give them a first-round draft pick as well, maybe, if that's what's needed, but Rollins with Brown and White and Pritchard, it's gonna open up the floor a lot.
Yeah, I just, like, with the way the Celtics operate when Danny Ainge was there and now Brad Stevens, I will not rule anything out because
Yeah.
I remember when they traded Isaiah Thomas for Kyrie Irving, and I remember getting that notification on my phone, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like, there was no, like, build up to that where it's like, "Oh, maybe Kyrie to the Celtics or, IT to
Yeah.
the Cavs." That was just one where I'm like, there was nothing about this, and I think, like, the Celtics have just been very tight-lipped with their trade conversations, and,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think
It's what
they'll
Boston does.
yeah, they'll pick up the phone if they're called, I
Yeah.
guess, but, yeah, I'm curious to see because we have a few days left in the deadline here. I think it's, like, Thursday maybe is the
Yeah,
trade
I think
deadline
so.
or
Yeah.
so, we'll see. I
I
wouldn't, like, rule anything out, but
I wouldn't either, but I think the whole city of Boston would lose their shit if Tatum's gone.
yeah, to be clear, I love Jason Tatum. Like, I think the guy gets a lot of unnecessary hate sometimes,
Yeah, he does.
but yeah, I hope he comes back, and my fear with him is, like, he'll come back maybe too soon. Like, I don't want it to be rushed because, that's, like, worst case scenario where he
Yeah.
comes back and, you know, re-aggravates the injury or
Well, I think you just slowly build up his minutes, man. Like, start him out as
I do
9 minutes, then bump it up to 12, 15, and just slowly build that up come playoff time. Because if the Celtics get a 2 seed in the playoffs, you don't necessarily need them for the first wave. You know what I mean? For the first round. So just be safe, man. You know Jaylen Brown's going to get 30 a night. It's just who else is going to step up.
yeah, and I think it really depends on, like, who they end up facing, but it's kinda like when they won the title, 2 years ago, when they beat
Hmm.
the Mavs, I remember there was a lot of health questions with, like, Porzingis,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, well, like, let's not rush him back. You don't like we're trying to save him for the finals, and they were able obviously to get away with it. And then he wasn't 100% in the finals, but you saw like the difference he could make.
It
It's
was
like,
night and day.
yeah, that's if that's kind of a situation where it's like that with Tatum, where it's like we just kind of like you were saying, ramp him up, and you don't need him right away in like that first round. Like I would
Yeah.
play it safe.
And or even just bring him in when you need him most. If it's, close game heading into the fourth quarter, man, bring him in, give him some minutes, take him out, and bring him back in late in the game. Because, I mean, that's probably what Missoula would probably do anyway.
Yeah, and even like if I know there's something about not being up to game speed, and like even if he hasn't played a lot, like with a shot, you still have to respect it if you're a defense. Where it's like
Correct, yeah.
it's kind of like the whole thing where it was like what was it, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan when I think they're facing the Jazz, and when they won the title, where I think it was Pippen like could not do anything, and he was just like a decoy out there because Jazz had to focus on him, and it's like you can kind of
Yeah.
not the same player by any means, but it's the whole concept of like you can't leave even if he's got one leg.
Mm-hmm.
Tatum.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Yeah. So we'll see what the Celtics do. We'll see what we can do, but this looks like we're gonna get a good win tonight in Dallas. Cooper Flag balled out. But dude, yeah, so I told the show that we would get back to college basketball. I know we're kind of deep into the podcast now. So I just want to touch on, you know, who your projected, Final Four are. I know we highlighted a little bit, but I'm I'm probably gonna go with Arizona. Gonna go with UConn. It just seems like those two are always there. Daring me to say Illinois? I mean,
I love
I
it.
could I could see it happening. And then you have to. Who can't go with Duke?
Yeah.
But I think Illinois, man. I think they might surprise people. Seems like every year and whenever they get to tournament time, they always flop out. But I just feel like this team's different.
Yeah. I would never count out Illinois with their style of play and the guys they've
Yeah.
on their roster. Like I think that's a team that I think is built to kind of go up against anybody and
Mm-hmm.
put up a fight. But I I I like that pick. I will not judge you for Illinois. That's my
Yeah.
full pick.
Just the way they play, man. It just seems different.
Yeah. It and going back to mine from earlier, I would say I'll take Arizona. I would do Duke as well. I would say I'll do Houston. I know that's like UConn's region, but I'll do Houston, and then give me Iowa State.
Ooh, the Cyclones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can shoot, man. They're very, very well coached. They play great defense. Their guard play is incredible. So yeah, that's a team that's scary, man, and they don't lose at home either. So if they're gonna rack up those quad one wins, man, they're an electric team, and they're probably the favorite coming out of the Big 12 to win it all over there. Besides Houston,
Yeah. I I'd lean towards Iowa State at this point, winning the Big 12. Like Otzelberger is just such a good coach,
yeah,
and like you were talking, they play smothering defense, and
hmm
they can also put up points, and their defense leads to like they do a lot of things right, and I
they
think it
run the
makes
court
for
well.
yeah, and that sort of style of play, um, I think that fits well for like these neutral site games in
Yeah.
in March. So
Yeah, man, I'm excited, dude. It's gonna be fun. Gotta love tournament time, dude. We're
right,
a month away, but first off, to close it out, obviously, I'm a Patriots fan, Celtics fan. We're in the Super Bowl on Sunday. Daddy Drake. Give me your Super Bowl prediction.
so I'm so sorry. I'm going with the Seahawks here,
Okay.
but I'll say 27-20 Seattle.
Ooh,
I
a
don't
little
think
high
it's gonna
scoring
be
game.
like a blowout. I think
Yeah.
that Seattle's defense is really good. I think they've got a lot of really great pieces on offense, like with Kenneth Walker and JSN, and like Darnold played well, but like, man, your Patriots, they're just gamers. Like,
Yeah, they are.
Vrabel is such a good coach, and, even when the team makes mistakes, like, they're in every single game, and I just think they're impossible to
Yeah.
they're just kinda like a shadow that you can't get rid of them. Like, I think they're a very, very good team this year.
Yeah, I mean, both defenses are elite. We've seen great play from Sam Darnold throughout the postseason, especially last game against the Rams. He absolutely went nuts. And then we're still waiting on Drake May's playoff performance. Obviously, he was in the MVP race, but yeah, man, it's gonna be really good game for sure. I hope so, as I know 80% of the money's on Seattle. I got New England winning 16-13.
Okay.
I think this game is going to be a slugfest. I think you're going to see a lot of similarities of when the Patriots played the Rams in that Super Bowl, where it ended up being 13-3. I just think both defenses are going to come out swinging. And obviously, the biggest X factor in this game is offensive line, defensive line play, and turnover margin. Whichever team turns the ball over the most, whether it's two or even just one, it will be the game decider.
I'll tell you what, like, as cliche as it sounds, if Drake May plays a clean game, they don't lose. They win. Like, I think there
Yeah.
are times where and it's, again, kind of with being a young guy where, he's had his turnovers in the postseason, and I think Seattle especially is a team that can, like, feast off those, but if he plays a clean game and they're able to move the ball a little bit, like, I I think they win.
Yeah. Yeah. With the way our defense is playing now, getting to the quarterback, because that's one thing that we struggled with throughout the season was pass rush. And it seemed like this postseason, something just clicked out of the guys. Their stunts are very precise. They're blitzing through the edges. They're blitzing through the linebacker spots, coming off the edge and not just through, A and B gaps. I've seen a lot of corner blitzes coming out. So the way the defense is playing, man, and I was talking about this on my last episode, was if we lose this game, it's going to be because of two things. One, turnover margin, and two, it's going to be the left side of the offensive line. Will Campbell has been struggling, and that Seattle pass rush is absolutely nasty. So we'll see, what New England and Vrabel decide to do with possibly a two tight end matchup, trying to chip block and stuff, to give Will Campbell some help. But yeah, if we can control the line of scrimmage, I think we win this game.
Yeah, it's just like you said, control the line of scrimmage and also just playing clean football. Like,
Yeah,
I I know it's possible to play turnover-free football against Seattle, but as close to that as you
yeah,
can. Like you said, I think we haven't seen, like, a Drake May, like, MVP performance so far, but he's also faced some of the best defenses in football these weeks
yeah.
leading
He's
up to it.
faced the last three have been 1, 3, and 5.
Yeah, like,
I mean, he's the first quarterback to ever beat three of the top 5 defenses in postseason history.
yeah, and again, if he gets done against Seattle and, again, plays clean football, like, I think he's shown flashes of something really special this year. I mean, you
Yeah,
know more than anybody being a Pats fan, but,
yeah,
like, one of my buddies is a huge Patriots fan, and he is just he thinks May is different. I don't know if you
dude, I feel that. Like, I thought Mac Jones was different as well. I just thought he had very similar play style. I don't want to say Tom Brady, but the way he, like, the mental capacity that Mac Jones had was very similar to what Tom Brady's play style was. It was just sit there, read, throw. But Drake May is different. Like, he's got the legs. He's got the touch. He plays very smart. So yeah, he was drawing a lot of similarities to Tom, but it just feels like he's different from this physical ability as well.
Yeah. I will say, though, kind of similar to Tom, I mean, the guy never looks phased even when he's got turnovers. Like,
Correct.
he is Mr. Cool back there, so
Yeah.
you gotta have that as a quarterback.
Yeah. His pocket presence is very, very good. It's actually stepped up a lot this season. him moving up inside and not looking down. That was the problem early on with Drake. Was early in the season, whenever he was stepping up into the pocket, he was always like looking down to where to run. And finally, I think the Buffalo game in Buffalo kind of made it to where he was now looking downfield throughout the pass rushes, and it's kind of carried on for a little bit of the season. But scared me last week, man. He kind of went back to what he was doing in week 1, week 2, and week 3. Was he was kind of looking down, with the pass rush coming. But I mean, it's Nick Bonito coming off the edge, dude. Like,
Yeah.
anyone's going to be looking at the ground trying to figure out where to run when you got Bonito rushing to your side.
Yeah, it's just Denver's defense is so good, and
Yeah.
like to your point about how he kind of progressed, like that stuff comes with time too, where you're going from where he didn't even play the full season last year, right? Because was it?
Yeah, he didn't play the first 4, and then he came in and played.
Yeah, was it Brissett that was starting? I think,
Jacoby, yes.
yeah, where it's like, now that he's got, at this point, more than a full season's worth of games under his belt, like there's some trust with that. I know, having better O-line play than last year has definitely helped, and like,
Yes, it has.
but
Better coach. We finally got a real coach.
yeah,
Finally got some weapons on the offensive side of the ball as well. So, but yeah.
I'd be very excited if I was a Patriots fan for the future.
Yeah,
with
the future is
Vrabel and
very, very bright.
everybody on defense.
Yes. But yeah, man, Adam, I really appreciate you, man, being on the show. It's been fun talking to you and Ryan. But yeah, man. So you guys play tomorrow, or do y'all play tonight?
I think it's are you talking about for
Iowa.
I think they play on Saturday or Sunday. I think they face Northwestern.
Was that? Yeah, I know you guys were facing Northwestern. Oh wait, no. Y'all play tomorrow against Washington.
That's right. Yeah, it's on the road.
Whew, 10 p.m. tip-off game.
Will not be staying up. My central time. I'm an old soul. I get tired, so I
Yeah.
probably try and catch some of it, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to talk when it comes to playoff time to see if you guys are one of the last 4 in.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Zach, I really appreciate you having me on. It's been fun talking ball. So thank you.
Yes. I appreciate you hopping on when it's taking time out of your day. But yeah, man, it's been real. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you soon.
Yes, sir. Same to you.
All righty, man. Take care.
Yep, you too. Thanks.
All right, bye.